Hi, this is Michael at TV Radio 1972 with my first radio review of 2026, the Prunus J-618. It's an AM/FM MP3 Bluetooth portable radio. You can buy these at Amazon for $19.99 plus tax. The reason why I bought this radio is because it's one of the few portable radios out there that has the ability to transmit a Bluetooth signal to either earbuds, speakers, or other Bluetooth compatible devices. That's a pretty neat function. I have one other radio that does that, which I'll show you in the size comparison. In the meantime, I'll show you the box. Here's the front of it. I like how they designed it. I liked how they packaged it. They did a good job with it. There's the top of the box. And then both sides of the box have their website address, prunustech.com. Nothing on the bottom. And then in the back, you have this reminder, please charge before use. And then some company and product information in the back. You can pause and look at that. Hopefully, it's focused good enough. And then I'll show you what came with the radio. It came with this USB to Type-C charging cable, and you're going to need it because this radio runs on only a lithium internal battery. It doesn't operate on AA or AAA batteries, just the internal battery. So you're going to need this to charge the radio. And then there's your lanyard. It comes detached, but you can put it on if you like using wrist straps. And if you don't, just leave it alone. Good that they at least have it. And then you have your user manual. I won't show you the whole booklet. I'm just going to show you front and back. And here's the radio. It's a bit wider than some of my other pocket radios, but it is pocket friendly enough. So, that's not bad. And then, here are some size comparisons. The other radio that I have that can send a Bluetooth signal to earbuds and speakers, the Hanronda HRD 205, which is also sold as an Ratty RF205. Yep, this one's much smaller with a much smaller battery capacity. And then the Hanronda HRD 701, which I will use to demonstrate the Bluetooth. And I'll give you the time, 12:16 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time from the northeastern part of New Jersey, or 5 hours later UTC, in case I forget to give the time during the band scan. And I'll give you dimensions. 2 5/8 of an inch in length, 4 3/4 of an inch in height, with this spot for the antenna included, and 1 inch in depth. It has a 10-inch antenna, and judging by the speaker grill, the speaker is about 1.5 inches. And next I'll show you what's on the radio. You have this big LCD display screen, and the text is pretty big, so it's good on the eyes. So I like that they did that. And then these two buttons on the right, they're your tuning up and down buttons. They're also your track forward and backwards button. On MP3 mode, you can also long press to either scan radio stations up or down, or in MP3 mode, fast forward or rewind within a track. And then below those two buttons, the pause, play, lock button. Short press to pause and play, long press to lock and unlock the radio. And then towards the middle, you have your sleep and preset buttons. Short press to go through the sleep timer in various increments between 10 and 90 minutes. You can also shut it off. And long press to manually preset stations. Now, there are 99 presets available per band. Whether you manually preset or it automatically presets it for you. And then your M- button next to it, that is used to short press to go down the presets, and long press, that's to delete a preset. You can either long press M- and wait a few seconds, or long press M- and then M+ right away to delete that preset. And speaking of which, here's the M+ button. The M+ button in radio mode goes up your presets. In MP3 mode, it sets your what type of MP3 player play you want to do. One track, all track shuffle, tracks, or off. Next to it is your scan FM AM button. Short press to change the bands between AM and FM, or long press to scan and store presets. Yes, it has an auto scan and store for presets. And then next to it is your power mode button. That is used to change between MP3 player and Bluetooth by short pressing it. Long press it to turn on and off the radio. You have your speaker grill below that, and then your Prunus logo. Now on the bottom you have rubber feet to stand the radio. That stands real well. And then on the top you have your headphone jack. Headphone experience. There is some low-level hiss, but it has great audio on it. You're going to enjoy the experience of the audio there. Next to it is your TF card slot, which you can put an SD or TF card in there. Now, the capacity, I don't know what the capacity is. I couldn't find any info on that. But 16 or 32 gigabyte cards should be fine. You can try 64 or 128 gigabytes. You may have to go through trial and error to find out if it can take those kind of cards. Next to it is your USB-C charging jack to charge the 2000 milliamp hour internal battery. Then, on top, you have your antenna, which is 10 inches, and it swivels. Now, there's a little flaw with this antenna. When you put the antenna back down, now in this case, it was fine, but there are instances in which it doesn't go down all the way. Now, if you do that, go towards the ball and just twist the antenna a little bit at a time until you're able to put down the antenna. Like I said, it's a little bit of a flaw, but it swivels. That means you'd be able to get your stations that way, so it's still a good design nonetheless. And then on the right, you have your volume up and down buttons. And then this button below it is your Bluetooth send. So you can transmit a Bluetooth signal by long pressing this button. It'll send a Bluetooth signal onto a Bluetooth compatible device. On the back, you have your label. Prunus J-618. FM is 87 to 108 megahertz. AM 520 to 1710 kilohertz. The battery is 2000 milliamp hour lithium battery. Speaker output's 3 watts, made in China. Now, there could be a European version of this in which it does 9K stepping. So it is possible, but I don't know for sure. And then your place to put your lanyard. And then nothing on the left. And that is all. I'm going to start tuning the bands. Starting with FM, so I'm going to turn it on. And might as well get the time again. Now it is 12:23 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 5 hours later UTC from the northeastern part of New Jersey. Now the stepping is in 0.1 megahertz or 100 kilohertz stepping. There is no 50 kilohertz stepping on this version at least.
이는 올해 월드컵과 일본국 10주년 기념 행사, 9.11 테러 25주기 추모 행사 등 대형 이벤트를 앞두고 중요한 대비책으로 언급됐습니다. 뉴욕시 경내 조직 내부 지원도 확대됩니다. 뉴욕시 경찰국은 가톨릭 대교구의 카디널
WNYZLD, New York City. That is the audio TV channel 6 on 87.75 megahertz. And it does tune in this station on both 87.7 and 87.8 pretty well. Not much distortion at all if it's in the best reception. Now the rest of the scan, I'm going to tune in the presets scan.
경찰 아카데미로 변경합니다. 명명식은 맥도날드 형사가 아카데미에 입교한 지 42년이 되는 오는 7월 16일에 열릴 예정입니다.
Father figure. In New Jersey, over half of our students are children of color, yet only 16% of those teachers.
Drive a bit slower.
Indictment. One of the charges stems from an incident last August. A civilian asked for his badge number after McFadder was allegedly seen driving very fast in a crowded park. The indictment claims
WINS-FM New York City, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Officers' actions at the 72nd Precinct in Sunset Park, and McFadder allegedly threatened to knock him out. The officer also accused of throwing a handcuffed suspect against his patrol.
And he made some statements. He mobilized a lot of people.
A pastor, not a senior pastor. I was a pastor at 20.
Because then anything else that we get from the world is just a bonus. In terms of how we get out,
Supposed to be my fate. And more. Kind of lost my train of thought on that. If you missed any of the show, you want to hear anything more, search XYZ with their exactly wherever you get your audio.
WALK, Patchogue, New York, Walk 97.5. That's almost 60 miles away. If I can get that station, this is definitely a good FM receiver if I can get that station.
I'm still holding back these tears.
구조를 시도해서는 안 된다고 강조했습니다.
former CEO Greg Blood and current CEO Mandy Ginsburg, I think they have somebody new there now, actually.
Again, HD1, Bridgeport, locally owned by Connoisseur Media. 99.9. Back to music. Driven by Napoli Nissan of Milford.
WEZN, Bridgeport, Connecticut. That's Star 99.9. That's nearly 60 miles away as well.
Great movie. $10. Chesterfield, yes. That crazy shootout.
WKXW, Trenton, New Jersey, New Jersey 101.5, about 50 miles away.
To have this pipeline and and an organization that can
Be our guest. Talk to June on Open the Night.
Yeah. So that's what I would say. Now, if you plant a church, and I never really thought of planting a church.
I told the cops you wasn't here tonight. Messing around. Anytime he's in the jam, she'll be biased.
I try, but I can't let go of it.
Magically touches my soul.
W300EI, New York City, that is the FM translator of WJDM 1520 AM. And that is all for the FM. Now, the FM, to me, it performed for a 10-inch antenna, performed pretty well. It has good selectivity on it, and the selectivity is pretty decent as well. Now, as far as an FM reception report is concerned, got 53 stations, 43 okay to good and 10 weak signals. Now, selectivity, like I said, it's decent. There is some adjacent channel bleed over, and even some imaging, 0.4 megahertz higher on the FM on a few of the stronger stations. It doesn't happen all the time, just a few of them, kind of similar to the Midland radios. Next, I'll go to AM. Now, like I said before, it's 10 kilohertz stepping. Now, you can either single press to go up, or you can even scan the dial if you wish to the next strongest station. But what I'm going to do is do a full band scan on 520. I'm not going to identify most of the stations because we're already almost 18 minutes into the video.
In order to act, in order to fulfill his good purpose.
Of course, it's the Mets. Let's have some fun. My thing is, and I mentioned it at the
Island into a true park. Amazon's Ring is defending a new feature that uses AI to track lost dogs.
WLW, Cincinnati, Ohio.
Well tolerated. A man running down the hallway this week. Running down.
CFZM, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Zoomer Radio. WSB, Atlanta, Georgia.
Juries, with all the technology, right? Jurors are looking.
CKLW, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. WNYC, New York City. WHAS, Louisville, Kentucky. CJBC, Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Championship. Who you you get.
WLS Chicago.
Steps from the Radio Surgery New York Cancer Treatment Center on Broadway and 30.
Call 1-800-ELDERLY. Kelly and Grossman are experienced trial attorneys who...
On my kids.
KDKA, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful.
WBZ, Boston, Massachusetts.
The team, they're going to be...
7. I'm meteorologist Tom Passelmeyer on WBAL News Radio 1090 and FM 101.5.
How long does it take to get to the forest? That's not far. What are we going to do, right?
WBT Charlotte, North Carolina, playing this lounge, easy listening type music because its talk format moved to 107.9 FM, WBT FM, Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's what happened to the talk format on 1110.
WBT, your city, your station.
Correlation between the...
U.S. or more millions
WWVA, Wheeling, West Virginia. The late Brother Stare. WPHT, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Just seeing them really receive Christ's healing as their...
In hindsight, the campus should have opened 2 hours late Tuesday.
Trade deadline for the Bulls.
WCKY, Cincinnati, Ohio. KXEL, Waterloo, Iowa.
It inspired the movie of the same name.
Park quit after Mamdani.
increasing to 20 to 25 knots in the afternoon.
WPTX, Lexington Park, Maryland. WRCR, Haverstraw, New York, which is a simulcast of 77 WABC. And that is all for that. So that is it for the AM, and as far as AM performance is concerned, like I said, it's pretty sensitive. It can get your distant stations at night, and the selectivity is decent as well. Some adjacent channel bleed over, but if the adjacent channel is strong enough, it'll get through. So I'll give you an AM reception report. During the day, 40 stations, 28 okay to good and 12-week signals. At night, 88 stations, 48 okay to good and 40-week signals. Now, you did hear it on some of the frequencies. There are birdie tones on some of these frequencies. When I did the test, I found it in about 12 out of the 120 frequencies. So, yeah. So birdie tones can be a problem here with this. By the way, to get AM reception. For those of you who don't know, there's an internal antenna. I believe it's either here or here. I don't know. I haven't opened up the radio. But it uses an internal ferrite bar antenna. Next will be the MP3 player. Now, long press to fast forward, long press up, or you can long press down to fast forward within a track. And then short press to fast forward, to go forward or previous track. Now it only shows track number. It doesn't show the name of the track or anything, so it's a very basic MP3 player. Now, using the M+ button, I can switch between playing one track, all tracks, shuffle, or I can just turn it off. But basically, it's a basic MP3 player. It sounds good. It does sound very good, though. And it does work, and it fast forwards and rewinds pretty good, pretty decent. And that is all for that. And right now I'm going to switch over to the MP3 function. So I'll short press to go to Bluetooth. And I'm just going to briefly play a new station. Okay, I messed up the Bluetooth portion of this review, so I decided just to record it over again. The current time is 12:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 5 hours later UTC. So right now, I'm going to show you the Bluetooth receive function. And I'm going to play WWJ News Radio 950 from Detroit.
And the Mega Ball 6 Powerball Wednesday nights up to 126 million. Traffic and weather coming up together next.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, may I ask a few questions? Yeah.
And I just wanted to show you that briefly. The Bluetooth receive works, and the range is about 2 floors down. So it has a pretty good range, definitely better than the range of this Hanrongda HRD 205. Now, connecting Bluetooth, the receive function, it connected pretty well. Had pretty good connectivity as far as receive is concerned. Now I'm going to show you the Bluetooth send. And I had a little difficulty connecting the device at first, but once I was able to set it up to send it to this speaker, it turned out fine afterwards. So what I'm going to do is tune in to a spoken word station.
You put that in a frame and all that. You got it some ways.
WFAN.
Yeah, the goal was to. I don't know whatever happened to it. It's probably still
And
somewhere in
then-
my parents' house in the basement with a lot of other memorabilia.
I'm going to turn this on.
Bluetooth mode. Actually, physically had in your life.
Bell and David Wright at Shea Stadium in 2005.
Here it is. Now I got to move this away because it's an AM station. That's what's
George
causing
Gervin
the
signed an
interference.
autograph for me, Iceman. He was so cool. Cool as ice. He signed an autograph for me. I stood outside the hotel. Shaq was cool. Was so good. I mean, he didn't look so tall, but he's like Shrek.
No, I never met any, but my parents spent some time with Shaq on a vacation a few years ago.
Wow.
They talk about how incredible of a guy he is, but I've never met him.
Yeah, he's the big old husky dude. At least
He's
then.
huge, yeah, like...
When the game was here at Madison Square Garden, they were staying at the Hilton, and I happened to be hanging out at a bar around there. I saw Dale Ellis crossing the street with a cigar in his mouth. I said...
And that is all for that. Now, like I said, the Bluetooth receiver connected fine. It's the Bluetooth send, which I had some connectivity problems at first, but then after a while, I was able to connect to that device, and it gets used to it after a while. So, the Bluetooth function is fine. Here are my final thoughts. I like the build quality. I like the big readable LCD display. Great audio. Good sensitivity, decent selectivity. And the fact that the MP3 player remembers current track and position. That means if you have hour-long podcasts, you can continue on it later. You can turn it off and then turn the radio back on, and it starts where it left off. Now, my mixed opinion is the Bluetooth transmit. Good range, but sometimes it's hard to connect. The antenna, I have to sometimes twist the antenna to put back the antenna. So, that's a bit of a flaw. Now, here's the bad. Some birdie tones on the AM frequencies. It happened in about 12 out of the 120 frequencies. So, about 10% of them. And some imaging 0.4 megahertz above strong stations on FM. That's kind of like what happened to some of my Midland receivers as well. So that's not the only receiver that had this problem. Otherwise, for $19.99, I recommend this receiver. So those are my final thoughts. If you can get it for about $20, go ahead and get it. I recommend it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notifications. Have a good week, everyone. Stay safe and God bless. Bye-bye.